My name is Nova, and before you click away, I need to say this plainly. If you don't stay until the end, you may walk straight into the same mistakes that made my old age feel unbearably heavy. I'm sitting here alone, not because my life was empty, but because I didn't protect what mattered while I still could. At the time, everything felt reasonable, responsible even. Now I understand something I didn't back then. Old age doesn't hurt most because of the body. It hurts because of the weight of choices that seemed harmless when they were made. Today I'm telling you about 5 of those choices. 5 mistakes I didn't recognize as mistakes until there was no time left to undo them. Listen first, decide later. I wake up early these days, before the sun has fully made up its mind. My body does it on its own now. I sit on the edge of the bed and wait for the stiffness to loosen, listening to a house that no longer expects anything from me. The silence is different when you're old. It isn't peaceful. It's observant. It watches you remember. I don't have many years left. I can feel that in the way my thoughts drift backward more than forward. I'm not telling this story to be understood or forgiven. I'm telling it because truth feels lighter when it's finally spoken. The first mistake was believing there would always be more time. I didn't say it out loud. I didn't need to. It was built into everything I did. There would be time later, time when things slowed down, time when the children were older, time when work wasn't so demanding, time when I could breathe. In my 20s, time felt endless. Days were long and years didn't scare me. I married young and moved into a life that required constant attention. There was always something unfinished, something waiting. My mother used to call me in the evenings. Her voice carried comfort I didn't recognize as precious back then. She would ask simple things. If I was eating properly, if I was tired. I often rushed those calls, not because I didn't love her, but because I thought love could wait. I told myself I'd visit her properly soon. I told myself there would be another chance. When she became ill, everything happened quickly and slowly at the same time. I arrived too late to have a real conversation, too late to sit with her the way she used to sit with me. I held her hand and spoke anyway. I don't know if she heard me. That question has followed me for decades. Time doesn't end with a warning. It just stops offering extensions. The second mistake was choosing duty over presence. I was proud of being responsible. It was how I defined myself. I did what needed to be done without complaint. I believed that was love. I woke before everyone else. I slept after everyone else. I kept the house running smoothly, meals on time, clothes folded, problems solved quietly. My husband was not a demanding man. He didn't ask for much. Sometimes in the evenings he would sit with his tea and say, "Come sit for a while." I would answer, "After this." There was always a this. Dishes, laundry, tomorrow's worries, tasks that felt urgent but never truly were. He stopped asking eventually. I noticed, but I didn't understand the meaning of it. I thought silence meant contentment. I thought love was something you proved by sacrificing yourself without being seen. Years later, when illness slowed him down, I finally sat. Long hours beside his bed. Nothing left to fix. Nothing left to organize. It felt unfamiliar, sitting without a purpose. I realized then that I had spent most of my life standing when I should have been sitting. The third mistake was mistaking busyness for importance. I stayed busy on purpose. Movement kept uncomfortable thoughts away. If my hands were full, my heart stayed quiet. I helped everyone, took on extra responsibilities, volunteered. People praised me for my strength, my energy, my reliability. Those words felt good. They made me feel needed. I miss small moments because someone else always needed something more. I postponed conversations with my children because I was tired. I told myself they would understand later. One evening, my daughter asked why I was never around anymore. She wasn't angry, just confused. I laughed it off and said I was busy. Busy is a word that hides many things: fear, avoidance, exhaustion, loneliness. When my children grew older, they learned to stop asking. They learned independence early. I thought that meant I had done my job well. What I didn't see was the distance growing quietly between us. Busyness creates the illusion of meaning, but usefulness expires. The fourth mistake was letting relationships fade without resistance. I didn't lose friends in dramatic ways. There were no arguments worth remembering, just missed calls, postponed visits, promises to meet soon. Soon became months, months became years. I didn't chase anyone. I didn't want to seem needy. I believed real connections didn't require effort. That belief was wrong. At my husband's funeral, I looked around and felt a deep, unexpected emptiness. There were people there, yes, but fewer than I had imagined. Some faces were unfamiliar. Some familiar ones were missing. Afterwards, I came home alone. The house felt larger than before. Rooms stretched in a way that made everything echo. Relationships don't disappear suddenly. They thin, quietly, until one day you realize there's nothing left to hold. The fifth mistake was believing I would be remembered more clearly than I am. I thought my sacrifices would explain me, that people would understand who I was by what I gave up. My children describe me as strong, capable, always busy. They are not wrong, but they are not complete. I wanted to be remembered as warm, as someone who listened, as someone who stayed. There was a moment when this became painfully clear. I was in the hospital after a fall. Nothing dramatic, just age reminding me who was in charge. A young nurse was helping me sit up and asked what I used to do. I opened my mouth and stopped. I had done so much, but none of it felt like something I could offer as an answer that mattered. I said, I looked after everyone. She smiled kindly, adjusted my pillow, and moved on. That was my life summarized in one sentence. There are things that cannot be repaired now. I cannot go back and answer my mother's calls slowly. I cannot sit beside my husband in those early evenings. I cannot raise my children again with softer hands and fewer tasks. Time does not negotiate. If you are listening to me now, I am not asking you to change your life today. I don't believe in instructions anymore. Life rarely listens. I only wish someone had told me how gentle regret would feel at first, how reasonable every decision would seem, how nothing would warn me while it was happening. I wish I had known that presence feels inefficient, that it looks like doing nothing, that it rarely feels urgent until it becomes impossible. If this story sits heavy with you, let it. You don't need to act immediately. Just don't assume it will wait. As for me, my days are slow now. I drink my tea carefully. I watch the light move across the walls. I remember more than I plan. I am not bitter, but I am honest. This is what made old age feel heavy. Not failure, not tragedy, just delay. And the quiet belief that there would always be more time. There wasn't.